I would like to welcome everyone to the German-Brazilian Engineering Day this year. My name is Sebastian Schmitz, and I would like to share some experience about the digital transformation and the ROI calculation of digitalization activities. Before I would like to start with the topic, let me give a few information about the organization I work for. I'm Senior Manager at the Industry 4.0 Maturity Center. We supporting producing companies in managing their digital transformation. We support the companies by using the ACATEC Industry 4.0 Maturity Index, which we invented 3 years ago. The first version of the ACATEC Industry 4.0 Maturity Index was published on the Hanover Fair 2017 by a large consortium consisting of research institutes, producing companies, and also IT companies. This year, a new update was published and also a new study which gives some insights about the projects we did with this framework. Two major aspects of this framework I would like to explain right now. The one is that we say the digital transformation is a stepwise approach. The first level where you can say you reach the Industry 4.0 age is the maturity level of visibility, where data and information are available in real time and can be used for decisions. As soon as those data and information are there, you can also be able to analyze those in the maturity level of transparency, forwarding those data and information to the future in the maturity level of predictability, so be aware what will happen within the next days and next hours within your company, and in the level of adaptability that some of those decisions can be done by the IT system directly. For sure, you need also some basic components, like a computerization, so to bring IT to the processes, and also connectivity to connect the different systems. The second principle, which is important of the maturity index, that Industry 4.0 is not only a technology approach. For sure, it's important to have a look on your machines, on your material, on connecting the employees, and also integrating your different IT systems. But on the same side, it's important to think about the organizational structure, so how to work together with other departments, other sites, or even external partners, and also how is the culture within your company. So how are you dealing with employees? How are you dealing with innovation, knowledge, and qualification? These are the basics of the maturity index. If you want to have further information about the maturity index, please follow this QR code to the studies I mentioned. Now let's move over to the ROI calculation. We are following there an approach of 3 steps. The first is that potentials can be measured by the profit and losses of a company. Then going into the details by using the maturity index, finding out what is the actual status quo, and also deriving there an individual roadmap. By this, you know exactly what are the upcoming projects for this organization or for this plan where you do the measurement. And as soon as this roadmap is available, you can move forward and calculating for single projects or a group of projects an exact ROI. Let me now explain how we are dealing with those 3 steps. With the first one, we just take a look on overall numbers. I think many of those numbers are known for you because those are also published on different studies. From our experience, you can really calculating with those numbers. And by comparing your profit and loss calculation and comparing this with different competitors in a peer group, you can also see, okay, where are some existing gaps within your own calculation? So where are potential which can be used? And as soon as you know what would be a rough estimation about the potential of the digital transformation, you can also go to the details. For a detailed calculation, it's necessary to have a roadmap. So to know which topics are on the agenda and what is the right sequence. What you see here is a typical roadmap for a producing company. Based on the status quo, you know what are the topics you have to address first and which are coming later. And also for the ROI calculation, it's very important to use this roadmap because you know for which group of projects you can do a calculation right now. The question is now, how are you able to get such a roadmap? The Akatech Industry 4.0 Maturity Index follows a very structured approach. First, you have to define the scope and also to define which processes are included into it. Then you also have to do a definition about your target system, because it can make a difference at the roadmap later on if you only want to focus on your productivity or increasing the quality, or if you also want to focusing on getting new business model within your existing business. As soon as the target system itself is defined, you can move on with analyzing the status quo. The analysis of the status quo is done by interviews with all head of department for all major processes. The interviews itself are following is structured by the questionnaire, and an online platform which we are using is guiding the interviewer through the process. As soon as you get the first results about the status quo, you see where are strengths, where are weaknesses, and also where are some existing gaps at capabilities. And this knowledge can then be used to derive a roadmap. The roadmap itself, it's a very individual document because it's using the gaps and weaknesses we analyzed before. And in this roadmap, you see all projects which are relevant for the transformation, and you can also see the right sequence of those. As soon as you first have set the roadmap, you can start with calculating the business impact in detail, starting with implementation, or also using those numbers for benchmark different facilities, or even compare those results to competitors within peer groups. For sure, I would like to share with you further information about the digital transformation of companies or even the ROI calculation. But even as the time is limited and you also want to hear other presentation about other topics, I can share with you my contact details. So if you have interest in further information about this, please do not hesitate to contact me. You can also have a look on our website, finding publications about our approach and also how we use this within producing companies. And we can also link ourselves on LinkedIn. So thank you very much for the attention.